What's up everybody, Nate here from Out of the Basement, bringing you a brand new action figure review. Today we're playing a little catch up from Star Wars The Black Series. We are taking a look at the Star Wars Adventures version of JAXXON, who is of course a super old school character from the original Marvel comic books. For whatever reason they decided to go with this version as the cover art. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. But for me, really, I'm going to look at this packaging right now, take the figure out, and then never look at the box ever again, most likely. So it's not the biggest deal in the world to me, but still is something I wanted to point out because it is just kind of strange. But taking a closer look at the package here on the side, you can see, of course, it says JAXXON, and there is another stylized image of the rabbit and the Black Series logo. On the back here we get the 50th timeline with the generic blurb, and of course it says we are in Legends right here, which says 1991 to 2021. There is the barcode towards the bottom, and then of course, just like the other comic book art packaging we've seen, they of course have some panels from the book. You can see on the bottom of the box there's one, and then on the top of the box as well, hanging out with Lando. And of course, these packages do have a window as well, so you pop it open here, you can see the figure in its package. And then of course, another image right here, which is JAXXON, and then we got Dengar right there. And also, here is JAXXON's bio. If you'd like to pause it, go ahead and read that. All right, and with the packaging out of the way here, let's go ahead and crack this rabbit smuggler open. We're going to take a look at his two accessories and then of course the figure itself. So he really only comes with technically one accessory. It's just the same gun twice. This is, I believe, a modified DL-44. We have seen this blaster in the Black Series before as well. I believe Jaina Solo, this is her blaster. But you can see that it is completely lacking in the paint apps department, but it does have some decent sculpt work to it. Of course, reminiscent of Han Solo's blaster there. And yeah, so you get two of them here. Of course, JAXXON does have weapon storage here for both blasters. You can see they just fit right in. No questions asked. Nice and snug. Not gonna fall out either, so let's go ahead and put JAXXON on the spinny base and we'll take a look. All right, and here is JAXXON out of the packaging, looking surprisingly awesome. I know we kind of memed on this figure for a while on the channel, but now that I've got it in hand, I gotta say I am actually having quite a bit of fun with this figure. And of course, you can see that detail-wise, Hasbro has done another fantastic job. Of course, they always nail the aliens, and I think JAXXON here just looks absolutely wonderful as like a more realistic version translated as if it was live action. So let's go ahead and just take him off the stand and we will get a closer look at those nice details. So yeah, first things first, detail wise, I just want to get it out of the way. Of course, this figure is mostly reuse here. We've seen the arms and torso from X-Wing Luke, and we've also seen these legs from Farm Boy Luke. But I think this figure really does a nice job at masking those details with some little new bits, and of course the variation of the paint really helps a lot. But let's just jump back up to the head here and just take a look at how fantastic this head sculpt looks. I think they really nailed like a sort of realistic interpretation of JAXXON here. It does have some photoreal to it as well, especially in the eyes there, but really nice green paint application details here, and you can even see there is like a little bit of like a brown wash to the head as well, just to give it some really nice texturing detail. Would have been really awesome if the ears were articulated, but of course I'm not surprised that they aren't. But you can see they do also feature some really nice detail there. And yeah, like I said, Hasbro always nails the aliens, and JAXXON just looks absolutely awesome. Of course, we do have a little bit of a new piece here, this sort of soft plastic overlay, which is reminiscent of the costume that's on the front of the packaging here. So as far as that translates, I think that looks really nice. Of course, we've also got a holster here with some gray paint on it as well. And that also is looking very nice, and it's not glued on, thankfully, so it doesn't inhibit the leg articulation at all. We do get a trigger finger here, and unfortunately, on the other hand, it is just a grip hand. So I know it's pretty easy to customize it into a trigger finger, But still, I'm not so sure about just cutting my figures up like that. Of course, there are some paint application details right here that look pretty nice. Got some yellow there running down the costume. Most of the figure is just red plastic here, and you can see it actually is a little bit mismatched as well, especially right here to there, which that is a little disappointing, but you know, it's not the end of the world for me. Of course, there is some more gray paint down here for the legs, and then the feet really don't have much detail to them at all. Which, taking a look at the front of the package, it looks like there's like a slit there normally for the toes, which is lacking. I feel like they could have added just that little sculpted detail in there. But still, overall, not being too terribly familiar with this character, I do like the way it looks. This is just another fantastic alien for the line. Now let's just go ahead and jump into the articulation here. JAXXON really does have a nice range going up there, but looking down is pretty much just straightforward. Of course, you do get head rotation all the way around. Side to side is pretty good as well. It is just a single ball peg up there, but you can see that there is some nice gappage going on there to help better the head articulation. So I think that's really important. This character kind of gives off that vibe, so I'm glad the head tilt is pretty nice. For the arms here, they can, of course, go all the way out. The arm can rotate around, but you do have to move that shoulder pauldron out of the way there. We also get a single jointed elbow here. It gives you just ever so slightly more than 90 degrees. We've got the trigger finger hand rotation there, and of course it also has a vertical hinge, so that's good. Good hand there. But then, of course, we get the gripping hand here with the horizontal hinge, so little bit of a boo there. Definitely when it's a dual blaster character, I feel like we should always have 2 trigger finger hands and 2 vertical joint hands. It just makes posing the figure look so much more natural, like Grief Karga recently. That was a surprisingly great figure. Anyways, here for the crunch, we can go about that far forward, which really isn't much, but of course we know most Black Series figures don't have any crunch to them at all. And there you go, that's all the way back. Of course, you do get rotation there. It's a little stiff and just a little bit of side to side. Now this is where I really like the articulation of the figure. Of course, the legs can kick out this far. Splits wise, it's not as much as you would hope, but I think that's more so the hips there. Pretty decent kickback here. Of course, we've got a thigh swivel. Excellent double jointed knees here, but of course they do get a little ugly with that kneecap there. And moving down to the feet here, we can see the articulation goes all the way down. It doesn't really go up very far, but JAXXON does have peg holes and ankle pivot here. So the sort of hybrid articulation here between like the X-Wing pilot costume and the Farm Boy Luke costume here really does work well enough. I think that you can still get tons of attitude out of JAXXON here, and there is just some great posability to be had. But now we are going to put JAXXON back here, and of course I'll show you how he scales. First up, of course, we've got the Black Series Return of the Jedi Han Solo and the Blue Line Chewbacca. Of course, we've got to dive into the bounty hunter slash smuggler realm here. So we've got Greedo and Hondo. Next up, we've got the archive release of IG-88 and the Return of the Jedi Deluxe Boba Fett. Then the Black Series Dengar and Bosk. Knew that was coming. Moving on to Zuckuss and Forlom, of course, and he's still Forlom to me, damn it. I know that it's canon that it's 4LOM now, but I don't care. Then with some comic book buddies, we've got the Sith Apprentice Maul and Kirkanos. Moving on to a couple Bandai model kits, we've got the Phase 2 Clone Trooper and the Shadow Stormtrooper. And last but not least, the SH Figuarts Tank Commander and the Mafex First Order Stormtrooper. So there you have it. Is JAXXON really the most essential character for your Black Series collection? Probably not. But if you are looking to beef up your bounty hunters or smugglers section, definitely pick JAXXON up. And still, this figure is just a lot of fun. It's kind of zany, it's kind of wacky. It's got some really fun articulation. So honestly, I'm super satisfied with JAXXON. I'm glad I picked him up. A surprising figure for me. I think it's surprising how much fun I've been having with it. So there you go. I definitely would recommend, if you're feeling it, pick it up. But otherwise, I can definitely see why maybe you could wait for a sale on this one. Of course, if you enjoyed my review, don't forget to leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about Star Wars The Black Series here on the channel. Of course, I'm Nate from Out of the Basement. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.